Welcome back to MineOperator. Today we're going to wrap up the tank project, but we're also going to install the Nefco centrifuge, the sand screw, and the tank, and then wrap up the plumbing on the big clarifying tank. We got a lot to do, so let's get to work. I have the centrifuge installed. Everything from the shaker table is coming through that ABS pipe, and we want to run it through this centrifuge. The shaker table is a continuous concentrator, just like a mineral jig is, but that centrifuge, that's a batch style. So same with the sluice. So those are two batch styles and then one continuous. So we have 3 different kinds of traps for gold to get caught in, and hopefully we catch the majority of our gold. However, it's ultra fine. This is gravity concentration, so we're not going to be getting it all. We'll be happy if we get 70%. I have this trench dug. This is where the front tires are gonna rest that are on the sand screw. It's gonna be even lower than it was, but I do have to make sure that we can still get a wheelbarrow underneath the sand screw. Everything is lower now because we have the centrifuge in circuit, and this tank, that rubber tank right there, is going to be at the overflow discharge of the sand screw, and that's where the pump's going to be, and we're going to have the plumbing go up to the tank. Well, we got the sand screw in at the same angle that it was before. That is a lot of work you're looking at right there. I am making some progress on the plumbing here. What I want to do is add a valve here, ball valve, to be able to close this, and then open this valve to recirculate water going into the top of the tank. Now, I want to recirculate so I can mix the water, I want to raise the pH, I want to be able to check the pH, and I want to be able to add the flocculant, so I could do that up top. All right, well, we have an update for you. We were measuring how much water is coming out of the tank through the pump up into the clarifying tank, and we were using this bucket here to measure how much is coming out.
Well, one thing, we tried to control the flow going up by closing this valve, but it put a strain on the little motor, the pump motor, and it didn't sound right. So we decided, leave this wide open and adjust how much is going back, recirculating into the IBC tote by different variations and different tests. And we found a spot to where I think, we're going to be running good with the flocculant.
Last night I had the job site lights on and got the plumbing done to the tank. So let me show you. What we're using right now is a cast iron sump pump that can handle 1/2-inch solids. And I know I want to use a diaphragm pump here in the future. So we'll upgrade that shortly, but for now this is what we're going to use, and that will go up to the top of the tank. That'll be our slurry, and we're going to match that flow rate by opening this valve entirely and then regulating this one. We want to make sure that we match the water flow coming off of the sand screw here. When we're cleaning the concentrates off the shaker table, we don't need to have the flocculant going into the big clarifying tank. We're going to be running clean water on the table, so as it comes out and goes through the Nefco, our centrifuge, and then through the sand screw, we'll just have it go straight into the pond because it'll be clean water at that point. So we'll be able to divert entirely by closing that valve and having that go right into the pond. So we have 2 choices there, which is super helpful. But now this is done. We have our centrifusion series, sand screw, tank, and we're going to divert all slurry up into the clarifying tank. So I turned on the pump to our pond. I opened this valve, and now water's going into our tank. What I want to do is verify that there's no holes in the tank. Well, the tank is nearly full and ready to spill over. I do not see any leaks. Right now I'm just testing for leaks. That's all that I'm doing. There's a lot of commissioning right now. It's a lot of work to set up the equipment. Oh, there it is, look at. The water's about ready to spill over. Okay, water is crusting over the weirs, pouring into the channel. This is the moment I've been waiting for a long time. This has taken months. And check it out, now it's draining out the 4-inch pipe. Now, just to repeat, I do not have flocculant in the system right now. I am only testing for leaks. So typically what you would see is this would be all dark and silty, and this would be clear, absolutely clear. So that's what we'll do the next time I get to run it. Right now I'm just testing for leaks, so I'm going to walk around the unit and verify. Marks. No water dripping, no leaks as of yet. I'm not seeing any leaks around the tank. I'm not seeing any compromise in the structure. And check out our water flowing out of the ABS pipe back into the pond. I have to say, I'm extremely excited right now. This is exactly what I wanted to see, and I'm glad you're able to see this. No leaks. Now I'm going to work on putting skids on the bottom of this tank. That way we can use it to capture our tailings and sediments that come out of our clarifying tank here. And this will hold 2 tons, and then we'll be able to relocate it by dragging it. So that'll be a great addition to our system here. All right, got that tack welded. Now for the other side. I got the skids done. You can see on both sides, they're knocked out. Now we'll flip this over and we're gonna install it here. This will hold 2 tons of some of the tailings and sediment. Once it's full, then we gotta go empty it. We're gonna test dragging the tank here. All right, con man, when you're ready. So we were talking and we're gonna move this tank out of the way so we'll have a straight shot, but for now we'll be able to drive around it.
All right, let's see what happens.
know what you guys are thinking. You want me to jump in there. Fill it up with water first. Woo! You're fine. Just get it in 4-wheel drive, but when that's full,
Right.
that'll be interesting. We definitely need heavy equipment, that's for sure. Things we gotta do until we get it. Okay, stop, hold. That chain came undone. Let me get that real quick. Can you back up a little? Okay, hold. Okay, ready? Yeah.
I love it when a plan comes together.
So do I.
That was cool.
That worked out extremely well.
Yeah, sometimes a plan works.
Well, first things first, I need to fix something underneath the jaw crusher. We have our hopper right here, but some material is getting by and creating a pile underneath the conveyor, and it's a pretty bad mess. So rather than continuing to run and just have a lot of material spill out, I'm going to go ahead and work on fixing this. Let me show you where the problem is at. So here in the jaw crusher, when you look down on the side of the jaws here, material is getting by and the hopper does not extend out that far. So that's what I'm going to fix today. What I need to do is cut the back plate off. I'm going to weld it back over here. It's going to be at a steeper angle, so I'll probably have to extend the length of it. And then I've got to cut a new piece for the back portion of the hopper. So I'm going to try to get that done here pretty quickly. And when I say pretty quickly, it's probably going to take 4 hours. So we'll see. Wow, good thing this isn't a tight spot. All right, not that I forget anything. Oh, light. Oops. Okay, I remembered my light. After forgetting. All right, let's get to work. that had to be some of the hardest welding I've ever had to do. I am finished underneath the jaw crusher. The hopper is done. Got the rubber guards installed. Now to test it out. Well, it's really windy today, so bear with me here, and I don't have a windsock. But I wanted to film what we're doing and give you an update. So there's a major leak in this 4,000 gallon tank. We've tried plastic welding 5 times, and then Harry put on some 5200, and it held for about a week or two, and then something happened and it started draining a bunch of water. So we had this spare tank, about 1,500 gallons capacity, 14, 15, yeah, maybe 1,500. And so we installed it. Over here I had to cut in to our 2-inch PVC, dig a trench, and run plumbing up to this tank, so we have it in circuit now. And from our sump pump there, we can pump it into that tank and store our water. This 4,000 gallon tank, since it was leaking, we opened up the valve and drained as much as we could into here, and we're going to transfer the rest into this tank. So many tasks you have to get done on the mill site. Over here, we had to drag this tank out of the way to get this tank installed because of the leak. And this is too heavy for me to lift, but now I got to use the mini excavator to lift it up and into place. I finally got to purchase a mini excavator, and it's a Chinese brand. It's a 1.2 ton mini excavator, WK10. They're all made out of one place in China. It is powered by a Briggs & Stratton 13.5 horsepower motor. And it does some of the small lifting we need here at the mill site.
A couple thousand gallons just to add to what we had. Now we're over 4,600 gallons. I'd say another 1,000 and we're at the point where we want to be. So we're getting closer and closer to running. You gotta have water to run. You all know that.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for making those water runs.
Oh, no problem. Part of the fun.
Now we've got some ore here that we want to run. Merrick, thank you for donating this ore to us. We're now going to be able to run it after finishing the clarifying tank and some adjustments to the mill. Now we got approximately 3 tons maybe?
Yeah, I'd say about 3.
So at most. So we're going to try running that today. Now our conveyor belts, we need to adjust them. Our feed rate coming out of the surge bin and up the 25-foot conveyor is at 740 pounds per hour approximately. So that's too slow for production. It's fine for testing. So we're gonna make some adjustments to try to get the feed rate at 1,850 pounds through the mill, about 100 pounds coming off of the vibrating screen deck that Freddie and Juan made. And we want 1,750 pounds coming across the table. So to do that, we need 0.51 pounds per second. So we came up with this little contraption. It's a rain gutter. with some cardboard edges. And this was Conman's idea. Great job. Then we're gonna take our sample, come over here, and we're gonna weigh it, and we're gonna take multiple tests. What do you think, Conman?
Yeah, I think we should take like 4 or 5 tests so that make sure we're getting an accurate read coming off the knife gate and that little conveyor over there.
Sounds good, average amount.
Yep.
All right.
That's the way to do it.
Let's do it. We used our little catch gutter to capture 3 samples. On the variable frequency speed drive, we set the speed at 4.05. That's our first sample, 3.80 and 3.48. Those samples are right here. Now we're gonna weigh them up and see what the feed into the Stutenroth mill is. All right, the first one came in at 0.55 or about 0.56. That's pretty dang close to where we want to be. That's about a ton an hour right there. So let's weigh the next sample. We determined 3.80 with the variable frequency drive is the perfect speed. So 3.80 is the perfect speed on our current test of 1,850 pounds per hour or 0.51 pounds per second coming off of this conveyor. Next, we're gonna set this conveyor to match that. And so now we're gonna do some tests to confirm that 3.8 on the variable frequency speed drive is at the same rate. So let me show you up top. Take multiple samples at a discharge rate of 1 second. So 1/1000, and we would slide the sample out, put it in a bucket, and repeat the test. Over here, we would take each of the 5 buckets, weigh them, and I would just put the weighed material into the pan to put back into the surge bin. We have an average of 0.49 pounds per second. So we took 5 measurements, and I want to do this one more time just to make sure we're good. The average then comes out at 1,764 pounds per hour. So we're going to do one more test, we'll confirm it, and if we're good, then we're going to turn on the rest of the plant. We're going to get the mill running, sluice table, the centrifuge, and we're going to see it work in action.
Yeah.
So we've been doing some water flow tests on our system and recommissioning our plant. How do you guys think it went?
Really good. We got some valuable intel. We had some industry professionals consult with us and give us advice, and they suggested that we do additional testing to determine how much water and solids are coming onto our table and how much water is dressing what's on the table and then flowing in the backside of our system. So this is dressing water here, and then this is our slurry water that's coming in out of the mill. Okay, so you have a certain amount of water coming in out of the mill, and then we have a certain amount of water here that's dressing what's on the table. And we didn't have accurate figures for those two and a total. And what we just spent the last couple hours doing, even as we're losing our light running into the night, is we split our entire system down and we tested every step we introduced water into our entire system. So now we have numbers on what's going into the mill and how to control it. When we have numbers, what's going on the table as dressing water, how to control it, and what the end result is coming off our table and going through the back of our system.
We now can set our table for 9 gallons per minute, 10.5 gallons per minute, 13.5. So we have, depending on the ore and the size we're feeding the table, we now know where we can set our water flow. sand screw working really well. It's discharging coarse material, and the overflow is going into this tub and it's pumping it into the clarifying tank. It's working perfectly. So I have the pump on, mark set there, this fully open. It's recirculating a portion of the water flow. Let's go up top. Okay. You have dirty water entering the center column, and you have clear water discharging out of the top of the tank. Notice that? See the difference? So what I'm doing is I raise the pH to about 8 with sodium carbonate, same stuff you use in your pool, pull up. And then I have this is aluminum sulfate. This is a dry feeder. This is actually an aquarium feeder. And I have it set for certain times to distribute aluminum sulfate flocculant into the column. So the flocculant works extremely quick, within 3 to 4 minutes when you have the pH around 8. If I didn't raise the pH, it could take 15 minutes to do the same thing. So comparison, dirty water, and clean water means more gold. Then you have clean water coming out of this 4-inch ABS. Now let's go take a look at our dust problem. Table. We're happy that there's gold and silver in there for sure. So let's get this table cleaned up. You guys are not going to believe this, but there is gold in every riffle. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it with the GoPro, but that lower part of the riffle is loaded. Every riffle. That one's got a ton of black sand in it. I don't see it there. Right here under the lip, right under that riffle, gold. Gold just loaded in here. Oh, this is awesome to see, you guys. Look at gold right there. Gold. That is amazing. All right, so let me shine the flashlight and see if you can see any of this. I cannot wait to pan this. These riffles are just loaded with gold. Finally. Take a look at the gold that I'm getting right now. I've been able to do some panning. So not too bad. So what I've been doing is panning out the sluice riffles and the underflow of the sluice. There's some gold in there. I started on the primary concentrates, but I have not been able to finish panning the primary concentrates or the middlings or the Nefco concentrates. So we have about a half bucket worth of centrifuge concentrates. There's a lot left to pan and a lot to smelt. Now take a look over here. This was some of the large material. Now listen. Now it looks like brass. Looks like really dirty gold. or brass, but call it brass for now until I put some nitric acid on it and see what remains. But really interesting. We'll have to scan it with the XRF too. I've actually have found stuff like this before that I thought was trash, and then I put nitric acid on it and it cleaned up beautifully and was nice gold. So we'll go ahead and or I'll smelt. I could actually smelt those too, or do some nitric acid wash on it. On our next video, I'm going to do some smelting. I'm going to take some of the concentrates here, some of the gold that we've collected, and I'm going to smelt that, capel it, and then I'm going to take some of the concentrates I've already panned and got what gold I could get out of it, and then I'm going to go ahead and smelt that down and see if I collect any gold. So we're finally getting some gold. Millsite's running good, besides the jaw crusher's having some issue again. Okay, something's up with the jaw crusher. This starter sounds horrible, and we had replaced that a while ago, I believe, but might have to get another one. So I'm not sure if it'll start. We have a few bags left. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's about an hour and a half worth of running. 6 bags. So we'll get this jaw crusher addressed again. There's always breakdowns. Can't believe how many breakdowns we have. I know a lot of you have been curious about this side of the clarifying tank. What happens when we open this valve and what kind of silty water comes out, and does it get plugged? So let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and open this. Take a look. Looks like thick chocolate milk. I'm gonna have to close that valve pretty quick. I'm getting that silt out, letting it dry in here. Once that clear water comes out, then I gotta close that valve. Now I have it only partially open, just partially. And that much soupy material's coming out. That is working amazing. And then when that dries, I can use the mini excavator with the toothless bucket to dig it out. Put it in the dump trailer and dispose of it. There it comes. So that's after about 2 hours and 15 minutes, maybe 2.5 at most. Sure glad we made these tanks. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and close the valve. Our clarifying tank is working as designed. And thanks to Freddie and Juan, because my dad and I, just 2 of us, ran the entire mill site all at the same time. The jaw crusher to the surge bin, we were able to screen material. We went straight up to the Stutenroth mill, over the sluice, over the table, and through our centrifuge. And so in We ran for about 2.5 hours. We got a decent gold cleanup. However, we're not gonna be able to weigh it yet. Next week, I'll go ahead and I'll smelt it when I'm able to come back up and compel it, and we'll find out how much gold we got. But I think there's some silver in there too, so we'll see how much silver we capture as well. If you like this video, crush that like button and subscribe, and thanks for watching.